So yes, there are only 3 skill slots for class abilities, however, you get an extra one for your ultimate skill and another for an item skill, plus you'll be proccing effects based on your items as well as using different attacks based on your current weapon equipped, 2 of which you can switch between, and 2 you can give to your companions in your current squad so they can combo off with you based on the enchantments on those. There's more depth than was initially revealed, but more on that soon. Hey guys, Dantix here bringing you some more Dragon Age Veilguard news. You should keep watching this video if you're interested at all about items, armor, difficulty, gameplay settings and more, so let's get right into it. Game Informer claims Veilguard has the best character creator in the series and possibly the most robust they've ever seen in a video game, claiming hundreds of sliders and options. But we know that already. What we didn't know, however, is that there are a ton of armor options too. Companions have an armor slot, a ring slot, an accessory slot, and a weapon slot, while Rook has access to even more. A helmet, 2 weapon slots, a belt, an amulet slot, and 2 ring slots. Now, this does alleviate the concerns that companions will just exist on their own power level. You will get to customize how they play, with skill points you earn by increasing their trust with you, as well as armor, a ring, an accessory, and most of all, a weapon. Weapons in Veilguard change how you fight. Remember, this is more action-based than the Dragon Ages before it. A sword has basic swings, but they have different heavy attacks than other weapons. It has different speeds that attacks come out, it has you moving around the battlefield differently, parrying differently, and so on. A staff may have magical ranged attacks or a large overhead heavy to help you detonate arcane bombs on your targets. Combos play a part in the game, so no doubt a weapon that sets your enemy on fire or sunders their armor will be valuable if you have a skill that detonates that effect. Like Valorous Fade Bolts, the weapon choice of your companions will matter a lot more in this game than it has in previous titles, especially if you want to play on higher difficulties. Speaking of difficulty, your final boss is hitting that sub button and checking this out. This is a custom Mass Effect inspired MSI Project Zero PC thanks to Aftershock. Just check out the detail. When MSI reached out and asked if I wanted to make a custom Dantix PC, I had no idea it would turn out this beautiful.
My god, it's incredible.
The star of the show is the MSI Project Zero, which is a rear-facing motherboard and case combo which streamlines the build process, allowing you to get minimalist builds like this one tidier and easier than ever before. If you hate cables but want to maximize your customization, man, this is the way to go. This PC also utilizes a powerful MSI GeForce RTX 4080 Super, and with liquid cooling and the latest DLSS tech, I'm pushing the frames into the hundreds even for the most intensive titles with ray tracing on. I just got finished gaming and editing a video and it's still whisper quiet. Aftershock blew this out of the park because they let me build the PC I wanted to build. So thanks to MSI and Aftershock, this is truly a love letter to me and my all-time favorite series. Moving on, Game Informer continues, a belt having its own slot might sound odd as it's not an armor piece people typically think of when kitting out an RPG warrior. However, the belt is an important facet of Rook's kit. The better Rook's belt, the better the potency of their healing potions, which are replenished by destroying green pots scattered around the world. That's not all though, as higher quality belts can proc additional effects like momentary invulnerability. I don't think a belt slot sounds odd at all, but I grew up in a time of Diablo when belts were important for healing. It seems they've taken the same approach here. It also seems as though some of your builds can come together with proc-based effects on these belts, though I expect other items to have similar effects, and some using your activatable slot button, wherein you essentially get another skill based on your item. What these exactly do just yet, we don't know. So yes, there are only 3 skill slots for your class abilities, however you get an extra one for your ultimate skill which you unlock later in your skill tree, and another for a skill that's placed on an item, plus you'll be proccing effects based on your items as well, and using different attacks based on your current equipped weapon, 2 of which you can switch between, and 2 you can give to your companions in your current squad so they can combo off with you based on the enchantments on their items. There will be plenty more depth than was initially revealed. But what about the armors? When creating your character, you can immediately view aspirational armors, which won't play into Rook's class until the mid to late game. You can also toggle Rook's starting gear and casual wear in the creator, giving you a pretty good idea of how Rook will look in more laid-back cutscenes in combat and how they might appear later in your Veilguard journey. Bush tells me a lot of the gear in Veilguard is bespoke to your Rook or their followers, which is to say, an armor piece for a warrior class Rook probably won't be in a chest for a mage class Rook. On a similar note, armor designed for companion Balara can't be used for another companion like Harding. So first, you can get a good look of how your character will be in the world, which was majorly lacking in Inquisition, where most players were disappointed that the character they spent hours making instantly looked different the moment it stepped outside. Now you can see essentially what is late game armor on your character, as well as your casual wear which you'll be moving around within the lighthouse, which is your hub area. What I'm not completely sold on though is armor unique to your class and your companions. So an armor set might drop and it'll only be available to be used by you or one of your companions. This does mean though that armor will suit the characters it's made for. No weird clipping I hope, and it will have appropriate stats and abilities. It makes sense that a dwarf can't wear what's made for an elf, but I would have liked it if they didn't lock all the companion armor sets behind exclusivity. It just means less options, and you know, I'm all about that choice. Well, thankfully we can transmog. I see a lot of armor to collect from things like chests scattered around the Alathan forest, for example, and elsewhere. Some of it looks awesome and some of it doesn't quite line up with my personal taste. That's how it goes in the genre of RPGs. However, Boosh tells me there is transmogrification, or transmog for short, in the game and calls it robust. This means you can take an armor's stats and apply it to a different piece of armor. In other words, if you have a really cool piece of armor you like and find a new piece with better stats but don't want to give up the look of your current armor, or vice versa, you don't have to. Transmog allows you to take that new armor's stats and apply them to your current armor, giving you all the benefits while keeping the visual style you prefer. Transmog isn't just for Rook though. You can transmog armor and other things for your companions as well. I don't get to see how Veilguard's transmog system works in game, but just knowing it exists allows me to rest easy knowing my Rook will look as fashionable as possible while saving Thetis. So yes, if you find something too out there for your Rook, well, you can equip it but change it to a style that suits them. The same goes for your companions. If you find the piece that really shows off who they are or what they provide, you can transmog the upgrades. It seems easy. Speaking of difficulty though, before starting the game proper, a playstyle screen allows players to customize various options affecting how Veilguard plays. Here you can select difficulty or playstyle as Bioware calls it, with options like Storyteller for those interested in a more story versus the combat, Adventurer for an experience that seemingly balances story and combat, and a difficulty called Nightmare. There might be more, but this is all I see during my demo. At any point during Veilguard, you can change the game's difficulty unless you select Nightmare, which is the hardest of the difficulties. That's a permanent selection. A lot of criticism the purists have is that making too many difficulty settings will encourage people to use them, because it seems those who want to gatekeep also have no self-control, though I can't judge, I have very little self-control as well. With Nightmare difficulty, you'll be locked into your choice. No going into settings and putting it down during one hard fight. Though, if you want to enjoy the way you want to enjoy, or have a disability of some kind, recently having a child counts as one, you have another option. There's another difficulty option called Unbound though, allowing players to customize their gameplay experience to their liking. You can adjust how wayfinding helps you in game, there's an aim assistance, and even an auto aim option. You can adjust combat timing to make parrying easier or harder with a balanced, forgiving, and a third harder option. You can change how much damage your enemies do to you and how much damage you do to enemies by adjusting their health. There's also an option to adjust enemy pressure, and if you're not interested in death-related setbacks, there's a no death option you can turn on. None of these options are a cheat, Boosh tells me. It's an option to make sure players of all abilities can show up. She also says players can look forward to similar accessibility and approachability options you might expect, though I'm unable to pour through Veilguard's other options to confirm exactly what's there. So yes, if you want to come home after a long hard day and feel like a goddamn badass, you can. You can live out that power fantasy, or you can dial the difficulty all the way up and live out your masochist achievement hunter fantasy, or even mix and match. Some people like the difficulty all the way up, but hate the small parry window for example, or they want enemies easy to kill but be slightly harder instead of waiting around for their turn to attack, so they can bump up the enemy pressure option and bump down their health. Options to customize are always welcome, and if you want to play the game balanced, you can hit that option and not think about it. We don't know how these settings will affect achievements, but I have no doubt in my mind that finishing it on Nightmare will give you one, like almost every Bioware game. I'm still getting hot sweats from my Insanity No Death Mass Effect run. And with that, let's wrap this up. What do you think? More or less excited for Veilguard? Let me know below. Be sure to do the typical YouTube stuff and follow me for updates. So thanks for watching. Ciao friends.